Hello and welcome to another tutorial here in this series where I introduce you to powerful, often web-based, often open source research tools that enhance your biblical studies. In this episode, I'm going to introduce you to the most powerful research tool, particularly when it comes to query capabilities, and that is available on the market for free, open source, and it's called TextFabric. There are two ways of using TextFabric. It's either in a web app that's much more user-friendly, or in a Jupyter notebook that's much more targeted for that type of use scenarios, much more targeted for researchers who really need to have all the capabilities that a Jupyter notebook can offer. In this tutorial, I want to start easy, and I'm going to introduce you to the basic TextFabric Web App. Now, in order to do so, we have to run the command here on the terminal, TF, standing for TextFabric, TF, and then we need to get the address of GitHub etcbc. That would be the A+ Center of Bible Computing, and they're the BHSA. That's the Biblia, Hebraica, Stuttgartensia, Amstelodamensis. It's the most sophisticated BHS database out there used by many researchers. I assume in this tutorial that you have already installed TextFabric. If you have not installed TextFabric, this command is obviously not going to work, and I will link you in the description notes to the instruction video on how to install TextFabric. Anyway, so let's go TF space etcbc BHSA, enter, and you see in the background now there are some commands being executed, and automatically the web browser starts here on the left in your default web browser. In my case, that is Chrome. Now you see this is running locally on your machine, so you can be offline, no problem. You can still run this, but it's going to open in the web browser. Localhost tells you it's on your machine. It's not on some sort of web server outside in the web. It's a service that is being provided by your own computer. So you can also, just like with any website, you could copy paste that address and open, for example, Firefox, and then just paste this into your Firefox browser, and you would have the same website, the same web app available here. Let's stay here on Firefox. I want to open a second terminal so that you can see how we can not just open the Biblia, Hebraica, Stuttgartensia, but we could open a parallel text. Let's open the Greek New Testament. So we run the same command, TF. In this case, the Greek New Testament, the Nestle version of it is being provided by the Center of Biblical Languages and Computing here at Andrews University. So the GitHub address would be centerblc / and then Nestle 1904. Now we run the command. You see some calculations are being done in the background, and now a second window is being opened. This will be your New Testament text, and let's stay in Firefox. So I'm copying this address out of Chrome and open a new tab here, paste it in here, and now, as you can see, we are having two windows of Firefox open. On the left, you see we have the BHSA and Biblia, Hebraica, Stuttgartensia, and on the right, the Greek New Testament. Let's go here first with the BHSA to just show you what is being offered here on the web app. You see we have a verse pad, we have a notepad, and we have a search pad. I most of the time use the verse pad and the search pad. What it allows you is it helps you to quickly open texts. For example, let's say you want to look at Exodus chapter 2, and then perhaps there verse 5, and you click here on the search function, and automatically it pulls up now Exodus 2 verse 5. You can click here on the hyperlink, and now you see verse 5 in its context of chapter 2. You can further click here on this. You see this little window, this little arrow, and it shows you now verse 5 in its entire taxontactical structure. Vateret batparo rechotz, and she was washing herself, or she went for washing down to the Nile River. You see here the complete syntax structure. This is the sentence. The sentence consists of one clause. In fact, that clause has actually an interruption. Right? You see here the infinitive construct clause that interrupts the vateret batpar o alha or for le rechot. That is the interruption. Anyway, you see also here the different phrases: a predicate phrase, a subject phrase, an indirect object, a complement phrase. All that is being shown to you if you want it. You can also, as you just saw, you can also click on a word. They are all hyperlinked. You can click on the word and that will open that word in Shibang, which is obviously a web service, a web platform that would go out of your internal computer into the World Wide Web and open the Shibang website. It will provide then more information that are not stored potentially on your computer. So let's say Teret, to go down, you see it's looking up the word Yarat, which Teret obviously is, and it basically looks up all Yarat cases in the Old Testament. So there's a link with Shibang. It's the same database that is being used in both platforms, in this case TextFabric and Shibang. Okay, good. So this is, as you can see, what the verse pad can do. You can also call up several verses, for example, Genesis 20 verse 1, and let's say Exodus 20 verse 10. And we run here on the verse pad, and now you see those two results, Genesis 20 verse 1. Here you have it, Vaisa Misham Avraham, and again here you could click and get further details about this verse. And then we go back here to our search results and pick up Exodus 20 verse 10 as we look that up, right? So okay, so that's the verse pad. Another option that you're having is to search. If you want to know what Notepad is, you can just click here on the help section and it will basically introduce you to definitions and explain you what you can do. I'm going to sum of this as I'm introducing you to these different search functionalities. So you can also run queries. For example, you can, let's say, look for all cases in which Yahweh is a subject. So you could say I'm looking for any phrase that has the function of subject, and that subject function needs to be filled by a word that has the legs of Yahweh. You see there's obviously a lot of search coding that I happen to know and that you would have to learn in order to carry out these searches. Also these codes obviously need to get known. I will show you in a second how you can get access to those codes without having to learn them by memory. So searchpad, and now you see we have now found any phrase in which Yahweh is the subject in the entire Old Testament. Let's actually make this a little bit more helpful by seeing now these subject phrases in the context of a clause. So you see I'm now looking for a clause. Within that clause, I want to have a phrase with the function subject. And within that phrase, I want to actually have the word Yahweh appear. So search. And now you see we have things in context. Obviously, this is the doing of Yahweh Elohim, the earth and the heavens. You see here Yahweh is being the subject. Yahweh Elohim actually. Or let's look here at, it's always Yahweh Elohim that we obviously find in chapter 1 and chapter 2. Here in chapter 4 we have the first cases where Yahweh appears as the only subject in the subject phrase. Verse 4, and it made Jahwe to Hevel and to Minchato, his Sha'a. This is not Nasa, Sha'a, and he paid attention, something like this, and it paid attention, Jahwe, to Abel and to his mincha, his gift, gift offering. So you can now look here for subjects, subject phrases in clauses. Let's say we want to complicate this, or we want to sophisticate this further, and we are interested in actually finding phrases in which Jahwe is acting. We are interested in the actual action, right? What Jahwe is doing in the Old Testament. So that would be we expand now our query, and we say we are looking for any clause that has two phrases. You see here the phrase with the function subject and the phrase with the function predicate, while we specify who the subject is, namely Jahwe. We don't specify what the predicate is. You see, I'm just saying look for any word and show me the lexeme, show me the dictionary entry form of that word, and let us also show that in the Hebrew font. So in the Hebrew script, that would be UTF-8. Now let's run this, and we will now see that it's not just Jahwe that is who is being highlighted. You see Jahwe, but also the predicate Yatzar. Yatzar and Jahwe are being highlighted. You can actually define how you want to highlight the different results by clicking here on query highlighting, and here you can go and select colors. You see we could add another color, and basically what it does, it runs each block corresponds with the line. So this block yellow corresponds with clause. This block yellow corresponds with the phrase here. So let's say if we want to give the clause the color red, we can do this by just picking a color. Here we go. And yeah, good. So now you see that the clauses are being marked in these red boxes. Let's say we want to have Jahwe in, let's say, purple. That means we would add a third line, because Jahwe is in the third line. We would add a third color, and let's give this, what did we say, purple. So yeah, that's kind of purple, right? So now the color is chosen, and you see now Jahwe is being presented in purple, and the predicate right here is in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the fifth line. So we need to add some further colors here, line 5, and let's do this here, bright green. Okay, and now you see all the predicates being highlighted in green. You can expand. You have these options to expand all query results. Right now, you see they're all as a one-liner in table format, so to say. But you could also click on expand all results. Now all results will be shown both in a line and in its syntactical display, in its full syntactical display. Genesis 2:21. Vayipel Adonai Elohim. You see here now this basically table format is being presented in your complete syntactical structure, and it caused to fall. Yahweh Elohim caused to fall a deep sleep on Adam. Okay, so these are obviously powerful options that are not available for commercial Bible software like Accordance or Logos. There are many more options that this provides. You can here you can actually define how you want to. Let's remove here our function, and let's pull up a simple verse, Genesis 20 verse 1. Here we go. So we can show a lot of information. So here we can see, as I'm clicking on things, I will reduce information that is being shown, and I can increase information. Right now you see I have not selected any of these show options, therefore I'm just seeing the pure basic text. Here, just the pure basic text, but I could add features, make them visible. I'm not adding features, but I make features visible by, for example, showing labels. So right now you see we're having now the labels for the different linguistic containers. So this would be the sentence, Weigtal X, that would be the clause, then CP, conjunction phrase, VP, verbal phrase, PP, prepositional phrase, and so on. I could click on types. Now you see it's being spelled out. This is the verse, this is the sentence, this is the clause, this is the phrase. I could show query features. So I'm not having I just didn't run a query, otherwise it would show now the query features. Anyway, there are many options to provide more information here. This is the notes. Each word has a note. When we go to Genesis 1 verse 1, you will see that we have a lot of number 1 notes, obviously, because there we have the first verse. So you see this is the first sentence, and this is the first word, and this is the second word, and this is the third word, and so on. So you can make these note features visible too. You have that option. Now I want to get to the important part of identifying how you can actually run queries in a meaningful way by knowing what type of codes you have to use, how to abbreviate, for example, subject, or how to search for an attributive clause. Here you can click on corpus, and in the corpus section you now have the option to see all the features that are coming with your corpus that you loaded here. In this case, as you see, this is the sign of the ETCBC. You have loaded the BHSA 2021 database. You see here Biblia, Hebraica, Stuttgartensia, Amstelodamensis. You can click here on BHSA, and now you see all the features that this database has made available. For example, the feature, let me see, function, verbal tense, book. Where are we here in the feature function? I'm not seeing this here. Let me... here, function. Sorry, I overlooked this. Function. So that would be phrase function. So you can click on this. It's hyperlinked and will automatically open the GitHub site and explain to you what function is. Function is the title. It's actually the phrase function. The phrase function denotes the syntactic function of the phrase. This feature is present on the object type phrase, so phrase function. And here are the values that you could use. For example, object. You want to look for objects, then you will have to use phrase function object. Let's do that. So we go here and we say we want to find any clause that has the phrase function is object. You see, I'm just copy pasting basically what I found here. Object. Here it was object. OBJC, and it's the function, it's the value for the function. The function is OBJC, direct object, but that is a feature of the object type phrase. So therefore, the object type is phrase, the feature is function, and the value of that feature is object. So we could now search this, and now you see we are finding all object phrases. Obviously, chapter 1, verse 1 has as its first object Eta Shamayim ve'eta Aretz. In the beginning it created God, the heavens and the earth. So you have full access to all the features that the database has. A good way to study the features so that you learn how to better utilize The search capability is by clicking on feature docs. You see here the feature doc section. When you click on the feature doc section, you get basically the complete description of the features and database options. Word features, for example. You can look for orthographic elements of a word, Kere words, or the transliterated word, the Hebrew transliterated word, or here lexical features. You can you see here the examples are being provided. You can show a Hebrew word in its Hebrew font. You can show it in its Hebrew font with vowels. Here you have the Amar as an example. Not just showing Aleph, Mem, Resh, but also now the Cholem and the Segol. You can have many more features, as you can see, gender, for example, GN, gender, and then the values would be M and F. So let's actually do this. Let's look for word with the, what does the feature list tell us? It told us if you want to look for a word feature with gender, GN, you need to abbreviate it with GN. You have the value M and F. So let's do this. We are looking for word with the feature GN, which stands for gender, is, let's say, feminine. And let's run the query. And you see now we see all the feminine words in Genesis chapter 1, verse 1. Let's add number. Let's find all plural feminine words. Well, I don't know. Let's assume I don't know how to write plural or how to abbreviate or what type of code I need to use in order to attach a number characteristic to my word. So let's look at morphology. Number, NU. Number is abbreviated as NU, and here are my three value options, singular, plural, or dual. Let's go for plural. So PL it is. So we are going for number is plural. And so you see I have stacked up two feature definitions to the word to the entry word. Gender is feminine and number is plural. Let's search. Here we got the otot, the signs, right? The signs, or the toledot, so plural ending, feminine ending. Yeah. So studying the feature doc is always helpful in order to run queries more efficiently. Good. This is it for now. By just showing you the BHSA text. Let's move over to the Greek New Testament, so you can see how it looks like on the GNT side of things. So let's make this bigger. Now here you see the same structure. We can actually click here on Matthew chapter 1 or chapter 11 and so on. We can go there. We can again click on details to see the full syntactical structure of a verse. For example, theos hen ho logos. You see that we have a predicate complement and then another actually predicate complement clause. Let's go and look at a nice simple verse here. Lege meter autou tois diakonois. That's an easy one. You see here the sentence, right? It said lege. It says who says. Here's our subject. You see the subject phrase. The subject phrase he meter autou, his mother, and she said. So the mother of him said to the deacons, diakonois, to the servants there. Okay. So the same function as in the Biblia Hebraica Stuttgartensia. I can also look up texts here, Acts 1 verse 2, and quickly go there. Acts. So now we go. So Acts 1 verse 2, and we get the verse here. We also have the option to, let's go back here to Matthew 1 verse 1. we have the option to show different things. You see, when we go to options, we can again say, let's not show anything. If I now click on the detailed view, you see I'm only seeing word containers with no information. But if I click on show labels, we are now getting syntactical information. This would be a noun phrase, for example. This is also a noun phrase, a lot of noun phrases here. Show types, show notes. Obviously, I think notes is not necessarily something that is interesting to use here at this stage, but yeah, you can show standard features. You see, for example, Biblos, standard features that you get a gloss, an English gloss, written book, roll, volume book, the lemma, the Greek lemma, Biblos, and then the part of speech that is being provided, standard features. Okay, good. Yeah, so the same functions. Now we can look for stuff. So let's make an example here. Let's look for any word with the lemma. Lemma translit. This is a feature that the database provides. It allows you to write in basically Latin font instead of Greek, or on the Hebrew side, instead of Hebrew font, you can just write theos, for example. And I hope I wrote it correctly. Search, and here we go. We found all theos cases, the God, the theos cases. In the Greek New Testament right now, we're just showing you see the first 20 results. We can also say, show me the first 40 results. And then you see it will continue, or show me the first 100 results. And now you see we're going out of Matthew into Mark, Luke, and so on. But let's keep this simple. Let's say 10 results. You can add also features here. So let's say you want theos in the number plural. So we are stacking up again features. So the word should have the feature theos, the lemma entry theos, and it should have the feature number as plural. I do not know whether I have abbreviated PL now correctly. Let's see whether we get results. We are not getting results, so I assume you have to write it out. Plural, yes. So gods, gods you are. You are gods. If you want to get the context, yeah, see the verse. You see here. What is it? He answered them, the Jesus answered them, not is it is it not written in the nomo, in the law of yours, that I said you are gods. As you see, I made the mistake here with number being abbreviated as PL, and obviously that didn't trigger any results. Why is that? Because I just didn't know what the abbreviation for number is. Again, here you go to corpus if you want to find out all these feature names and formulations, and you can click here on feature docs. Once you click on feature docs, you can now get the full description of what is being made available. Let's say words. What features do we have for word? Let me look for the feature number. Here we have it, number. What is number? It's being defined grammatical number of the word, I guess it should say. And then you have to write it out singular and plural. Yeah. Or you can also just use your web browser's search capability. For example, person. So person is not abbreviated. You write it out, person, and the value would be first, second, and third. So let's try this. Let's look for a word in which we have a verb with the person is. If we want the first person, it's is P1. That should now give us the results. Yeah, here we go. Edomen, that's obviously plural, so we can now add, if we want to have singular, number is singular. Yeah, now we have the singular proskineso, I'm worshipping. we could now perhaps add a lemma, namely AME. Lemma translit is AME. Now we should get the ego AME cases. Let's look. Yeah, here we are, AME. So now we have the AME. Let's look now for the word order I am. So we are basically looking for two words, and the first word should have the lemma translit is ego, right? It should provide us results. We can now bring these two words in order. So we could say the first word, which is ego, right, should be preceding right away the word AME. So let's run this query and let's see. Yeah, you see what we are. This sign tells you that the first word needs to be right before the second word. Therefore, we get the ego AME cases here now. We could also write this differently, and we could say, let's call this word 1 and this word 2. And now let's define the relationship between verse 1 and verse 2 by saying verse 1 needs to be right before verse 2. That should do exactly the same thing. You see, we get our 51 cases again. You could also say that we want them to be all appearing in one clause, or perhaps, yeah, in one clause. So then we indent these words. So let's get this out. Indent these words and look them up. And yeah, now we get basically the same results, but this time in its clause structure. See here, this is the clause. Ego AME. We can now use again our highlighting and say, let's highlight the ego with a different color. Let's do the ego in, let's say, reddish, and then let's highlight the AME in greenish. And yeah, now you see in the results ego AME, ego in red, AME in green. To show you another important great feature that TextFabric offers, let's go for that back to our Hebrew, Biblia, Hebraica, Stuttgartensia. You have the option actually in TextFabric to define jobs. Let's say you are searching here for, I don't know, let's do something simple, a clause in which the phrase function is subject, and we want there the word lex is yod. So we are looking for Yahweh in subject position, and we want to have phrase function is pred. Let's say we just want to see all the predicate phrases, that is the actions of Yahweh. Let's also do some color coding for this. So we are going to add for clause yellow, fine. For subject, let's define red, and then for the actual lexeme, Yahweh blue, and then we want the predicate phrase to be green. Here we go. So, and now we have these color codings, and let's say you are now interested in finding the cases where blue is really not a very good color. Here, let's do this. We want to find options where it's not Yahweh who is the actor, but where Yahweh is the object. But we really want to keep this here, the search. We don't want to lose it and write a new query here. The option here that you have is you can actually, with plus, you can define a new job. You could either do plus, so that would be a completely new job. So let's give this job a name. Let's give it Yahweh as object, because we want to look for Yahweh as object. So we can define different jobs. So here Java is object, and here our first query where we had Java as subject. So we can also make a copy of this job. You see the two pluses. So if I click here on plus, I could now, let's say, Java as subject. So you see I'm now having Java as subject as a job, so to say, as a query job, and then Java as object. What we could do is let's delete Java as object. Okay, you see this minus sign we could use. So we're creating a duplicate now of the Java is subject. So let's do this, and we call it Java as object. And now we can alter this and just make an object out of Java here and search. So now we have all the cases in which Java is the object, for example, here, and they heard the voice of Java. Obviously, here Java is part of a bigger object phrase. It's really the voice that they hear, but it's the voice of Java. We could further define and exclude other words from the object. Why not do that right now here, just for the fun of it? So let's call this P1, and then let's call this word 1. And now we could define the relation between these two by saying P1, the boundaries of P1 need to be identical to the boundaries of the word. So basically no other word can appear in P1 in that phrase. Yeah, here you go. They blessed Java, or they praised Java. You see now Java is the only word in that object phrase. Good, so we have a very separate type of job now defined, where Java is the object of an action, and here we have Java as a subject, and it's both saved. So this is a beautiful feature that you're having, so you can run several queries in your TextFabric environment. Let's say you really like this construction or this query project that you have done. You can go and add information to this. You can give this a name and say Java as object of action, and then the divine object, and then you provide a description of what you're doing there, and then you can download the job. Here you see the job has been downloaded. Let's say delete this job here in TextFabric. Okay, let's delete whatever here started. Let's delete that. So we're back to our default, and you want to load again the query that you have stored once. You can go here on import job and then pick up the downloaded job, and here you are. Everything is saved and available for further processing. Well, I hope you have enjoyed these additional features that TextFabric is offering. I think they help you to streamline your workflow quite a bit. You can run several queries and defined in several jobs without losing queries that you're working with. So I think that's a great feature, and I'm happy that this was implemented in TextFabric. Well, see you in our next session. All the best.